All right then. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our special council meeting. The purpose of this public meeting is to receive delegations pertaining to the future of the old town hall. I'm going to thank everyone who's taken the time to respond and has taken the time to be heard, because that's what this is all about, is trying to hear from everybody, and we're going to do that today. I'm going to call the meeting to order and remind council of the declaration of pecuniary interest if it arises. This meeting was a priority of council at the start of the term. We wanted to deal with this. It's something that's been hanging around for a long time and hasn't been dealt with, and we were hoping to have it in person. That's kind of what the holdup's been, and with the way the protocols have been going, it's been too hard to do an in-person meeting. So we thought we'll move on with the virtual meeting. I know it's not everybody's preference, but it helps us get moving with this and get something done. So this meeting's to make everyone aware of all the costs and everything associated with the town hall. When it comes to costs, a lot of the things are, when you hear an engineer's side of it, it's really just bricks and mortar, and they put the cost out of what it is, and it could scare you, but there's no historical value to that. So I'm sure while we've seen it with a lot of the letters, a lot of people have said what the hall means to them, and it's good to see some of those things. But the history, this has been around since amalgamation. Actually, it goes back a long way. Rotary looked at the town hall at one time, and it was too expensive for them to do it. So then we had a report done in 2008 by Genevar, and they put some numbers to what it would cost to bring the old town hall back. And at the time they were even sharing some numbers of, to build a new hall at that time, it was $160 a square foot, and to rebuild that one, it was $300 to $350. And those numbers are from 2008, so I'm sure it's a little different now. But we had a council meeting in 2009 and didn't really deal with it. We heard similar letters back then about how important the hall is to the community. 2018, we did a facility condition assessment for all of our buildings in the township, and the town hall was one of them that would be that was looked at. And with that, for all the buildings, it comes up with numbers that we can plug in for the budget to maintain buildings and upkeep them. And that was what the whole idea of the facility assessment was. So that's kind of what this meeting is we're going to move on with the recommendations of the facility conditions agreement that we have. And, the town hall could be a part of it. So we'll deal with it with budgets to come. So with that, we have some supporting documents as part of this meeting. I'm sure a lot of people have looked at. It was basically what I just talked about now. So I'm sure some people will be speaking to those things, but we do have we have two delegations scheduled today. And I think we'll move into delegations. If I could get a motion to receive the supporting documents that were supplied by for the meeting, moved by Councillor Webb and seconder Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor of that? And that's carried. Okay, we're going to move right into delegations here, and our first delegation is Gregory Clements. I've seen his name here somewhere. Welcome, Greg. If that's the same Greg, I don't know. He's muted. Would that be him? I'm not sure, Bianca, if there's a Greg listed on here, but it's muted.
Through you, Mayor Martin, perhaps we could move to the next delegation, and we'll give the other delegation an opportunity to connect.
That would be good. Okay, I do see the jammers here, so we'll move into that, and we can come back to Greg if he's available. So I think it's I don't know whether it's Pat Patterson or Lori, but Pat, did you want to say anything there? It's muted right now. Does somebody there know how to unmute it? Bianca, is it muted on our end or theirs?
No, through you, Mayor Martin, we can't.
Okay.
There we
There it
go. I think they've done it. There we
I
are.
got her.
Let's hope so anyway.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor,
Welcome.
councilors, Mr. Mayor, councilors all, can you hear me okay?
yeah,
Your job is not an easy one, which I know well, okay? The disrepair of the town hall just didn't happen today. And it's really not your councilor's fault. As everyone knows, in order to keep a building in good repair, maintenance and improvement need to be planned and budgeted for, which hasn't been done for many years. So here we are, okay? I think everybody in this town knows that. To right this wrong, the Havelock midweek jammer would ask council to pass a motion to initiate the critical repairs now so that we can reopen and start the use of the hall. Furthermore, we would ask the council to pass a motion to plan and budget for the town hall building improvements outlined in the 2016 asset management plan over a long time period. This should be reflected in the council's short-term and long-term capital budget. And I'm hoping that that can be done as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you, Pat. And yes, we've heard from the jammers before, and these are one of the main tenants in there. So I thank you for your comments there. Is there any questions for the jammers from council at all? I think most of the comments you made there, Pat, I think that's why the meeting's today, that we can try and
That's right, yeah.
get a resolution here to do one, to move on. So I thank you for that. And I'll look for a motion to receive that delegation if that's all we have there.
Yeah. I don't know, Mr. Mayor, whether Lori wants to read. I think you have Mum's. It was a letter that we took off Mum's computer that had the agreement going way back. And if she was here, she'd certainly have more to say than this old guy.
Yeah, I think you're right, Pat. Yes, yeah, we did have that. I did read it. So yeah, thank you. So I'll look for a motion. I think Councillor Pomeroy was moving that we receive that delegation. And is there a seconder? Councillor Ellis with the palm trees behind him. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay, well, thank you. And we'll see where the discussion goes here. So our other delegation was Greg Clements, and I'm not sure if he's on here now. Okay. Yeah, he's not showing up. I see a Greg on here, but I don't know if that's the Greg Clements that, so if he happens to pop up, council, maybe we could come back to it, but maybe there's some technical difficulties. So we'll move on to the public comments that we received here as of publishing the agenda. We had 10 comments here. All were very similar. I don't know whether you want to go through them individually, but I think the gist of most of them were that the value of the town hall to these people, and bringing that side of it out. Like I said before, an engineer's report does one thing, and that's just the brick and mortar part of it. So this part here is bringing the history into it, and some of them were really well done as far as giving that history and what it was used for. And I think Shirley's might have been one of them there, but anyways, so what's council's thoughts here on these public comments? We can receive them as a whole. I don't know whether there was any that you wanted to speak to, but what's your thoughts on that? Anybody? Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just to reiterate kind of what you said, I'd like to thank everybody for turning out today. I think it's quite evident that there's a large push in our township to save this building and make it into something feasible, something our community can use moving forward. Yeah, just I think Jack might add his hand up there. Jim, I don't know if he wanted to speak, sorry.
Okay, then
Maybe I'll speak after everybody else speaks.
okay. Yeah, it's we only had 2 listed, but Jack, if you had something there, I guess if it's all right with council, we'll open it up to if anybody had any questions here or comments. Jack, are you there?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor and councilors. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I'm familiar with Zoom, but not a pro at it, that's for sure. I just wanted to add to what Pat Patterson had to say. And I feel personally as a citizen that the repairs should have been, should be done to the town hall is what I'm trying to say. And maintain it as it is with annual upgrades. Use your own building inspector to recommend what needs to be repaired. Engineers are fine, but engineers like building new buildings and spending lots and lots of money. And I'm sure that the building inspector here for the municipality is quite capable of telling you what's safe and what's not safe on that building. Another thing, besides the fact that I recommend that you fix it up under the supervision of the building inspector, I believe that we should try and find somebody in the community, and I'm not the guy. I would help with anyone that was interested. I saw somewhere a submission from Evan Myers and his wife, and there's other people there that are quite interested in arts and cultural grants that could be available for that building. Other communities are doing that, and I found one on the internet where a township had a plan for 3 or 4 year plan for their arts and cultural programs. And it's quite possible there's government money available and private money available as well to improve that building. And it's a matter of someone, being organized enough to ask for it on behalf of a committee of council or whatever it is. But I know from things in the past, and I'm going way back to the 90s when 3M was here. I mean, when they were approached and asked, to commit $10,000 back in those days, they never hesitated to support anything we were trying to do. So anyway, if you don't ask, you don't get, is what I've always preached. Years ago in Norwood, I get a big chuckle out of what goes on in Havelock today, that Norwood has this and Norwood has that. Well, 20 years ago when we had everything, or 25 years ago, 30 years ago, probably now, it's because we asked for stuff and we got it. And I spoke a couple of times to the Norwood Council and Recreation Committee about their concerns as to, why is Havelock getting all this stuff and we're getting nothing? And the roles have kind of reversed because I think we forgot to ask. And we need to find some people that are willing to ask, whether it's the province we're asking or the federal government, or whether it's our local mines and businesses that are in this area. So anyway, I've took up enough time, and thank you for letting me have a say.
Thank you, Jack. And yeah, we have been applying for grants and we would continue to do that. That's one of the things, we have been pretty successful with grants, and this one's a little different but there is different streams that we can keep an eye on and try and get something if we were going to move forward with it. But David Fawn, our acting treasurer, has his hand up there. Hello, David.
So, hi everyone. Jack, thank you for that well articulated viewpoint. I agree with you. We are stepping through the arts and cultural grants. Another thing we don't have in our township yet is a historical building designation. which is another avenue that we're going to chase down, either a provincial or federal grant, to save this historical landscape if indeed it's deemed best by the community. So, thank you, everyone, and thank you everyone for the feedback as well. I guarantee you we all read it and reread it twice. It's very important to us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so all the letters had their own little key notes in them, and you know, and I think that's what council's been reading. And like I said, most of these letters are similar to the letters I've seen from 2009. So if anything, they're consistent. So, you know, the thing for today is that council will be making a decision today as far as whether we just receive it and bring it back, or we bring it back to the February 1st meeting, or we can take it to budget. And the other one is we could deal with it now. You know, I don't see any other delegations here. Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Well, yeah, just to finish my previous thoughts there. As I said, I was kind of piggybacking on what you said to start the meeting, Jim, in that what we've heard from the community is that this is something they want. I know sometimes there's pushback from council in terms of the cost of some of these repairs. But quite clearly, at least from my point of view, I'm hearing from the community, yes, the cost might be high, but we as a council should be able to keep those in order. And they want this building fixed. So let's get the ball rolling here. You know, we've been doing this, like you've said it here, for better part of 15 years. So I'll make the motion now that I'll kind of echo the motion of the jammers that we, in the short term, investigate the possibility of getting the building open as soon as possible, whether that be putting a ramp on the side. That would be up to, I guess, John, the CBO. And second part of the motion would be to direct the rest of it to the budget process, where we can formulate a plan on how we're going to bring this old building back to where it used to be.
Okay. All right, then. If all the delegations are finished, I'll take that motion, Councillor Webb, that it's a two-part motion there. One is to get it opened as soon as possible, working with the building inspector. I don't know how you want that, Bob, but do you want it as a two-part motion or two separate motions?
Oh, through you, Mayor Martin. The motion from Councillor Webb is fine. We'll take it as one motion.
Okay. All right, then I'll look for a seconder, and then we could speak to the motion, or if anybody has anything to say, any council has anything to say before we move on with the motion, I'll look for a seconder. Deputy Mayor Giroux.
So I'll speak to the motion.
Okay.
So
Here.
thank you, Mayor Martin, and welcome everyone. Just so I'm clear on Councillor Webb's motion, that we will work with the building inspector to get it open as quick as possible. And that's kind of a wide spectrum, because it's not just building a ramp. There's a roof that we have to take into consideration. So as long as all present understand that it isn't going to happen tomorrow, or next week, or even next month. I don't want anybody to go away from this council or this meeting today thinking, wow, it's going to be open shortly, because I haven't talked to the building inspector other than the walkthrough we did last week. And there was a lot of stuff that was involved. So I'm not opposed to the motion, but I don't want anyone to think that it's going to happen overnight. That's just my comment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, and I think the motion is just to work with the building inspector. The main reason it's closed right now is the ramp. The roof came into it in the last couple of weeks, but I'll see if there's a seconder here, Councillor Webb, and then we'll move on to comments and questions speaking to the motion. Is there anybody that wants to second that motion? Okay, I'm not seeing a seconder for that. Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I think we're going to have to bring this back to
Here we go.
budget. And see what we can afford in this poor old building. You know, we all love it. Anybody that's been around here for years, we all love it. But is it, you know, has it gone too far for us to refurbish? If you take a walk through, it's not in good shape.
Oh,
And
bullshit.
we've all done that. And we gotta have some numbers. Like I know the ramp on the side, that was one on the start. I think we could have accommodated the jammers on that one right off the bat. But now we have the roof to contend with. I would like to see some figures here and see what we can afford each year, you know, to put in the budget. So that maybe if we decide to proceed, we know exactly what it's gonna cost. Because there's gonna have to be a lot of money dumped in there. And we need some help from the government. We need some grants. And you know, which council has talked about, Jack talked about it. We've all talked about it over the time, and I guess we're not rapping on the right doors, because we sure aren't getting any grants for what we've applied for the town hall. And I know this goes back, you know, like you said, to when we amalgamated, because we have some stuff there from Ron Giroux and well, I guess probably a couple of you former councilors there too. And, you know, this has been an ongoing thing for how long, with no money being put back into the building. So we're gonna have to have some professional help, which our acting treasurer, David, can probably work something out for us and maybe get something started here on the grant side. That's my comment.
Okay, and I see Councillor Webb had a comment there. And before we go there, we do have the numbers here. That facility condition assessment has a map there for how much it's going to cost and how we move forward. It's a 10-year plan and a 30-year plan. So we do know the costs of it. I think there was two numbers I had, 300 or 600. 600 I think was over 10 years. It was $1.5 million by the end of it for the 30 years. But we do have the numbers, and that's why we paid the big bucks for the assessment there for all our buildings. So we do know what things are going to cost. It's the matter of bringing it into budget or not. So Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Jim. I got 3 reports sitting in front of me, so I don't know why we would need another report. We've got all the numbers we want. They're sitting right there. This is just a game that's being played to kick this down the road, as far as I'm concerned. We got people here, the community's asking for what they want, and we have a council sitting here saying, no, we know better than you. And I'm not going to be a part of it. Once again, I'd like to, I don't know if I have to rephrase that motion, but as I said, we need to get on with this. Taking it back to the next meeting or whatever, it's just wasting time. We all know what we need to do. It's there in front of us. We don't need any more numbers. Let's get on it. I'm tired of this.
Okay, so the whole idea of this meeting was to hear from the public. We've heard from the public. We heard from them in 2009. So the options for today were whether we receive it and bring it back to the February 1st meeting on how we move ahead. I think that's the whole thing. We have to move ahead here. We can't just keep fluffing it down the road. The second part was referring it to budget today, which would mean that we're going to look for how we're going to get the money and how we're going to move ahead. And the third option is dealing with it now and just saying, we'll find the money and let's get on with it. So, you know, there is a part, the building inspector will be involved anyways, Councillor Webb. He's going to have a big part of it as far as, you know, maybe that part of it as far as getting it open as soon as possible. I think that would be done anyways in the motion as far as dealing with it at budget. So there's three options there, you know, and you're right. We can't keep putting this off. I think that's what council was saying at the beginning of the term. We wanted to keep moving forward. And this thing here has been fluffed off since amalgamation, trying to look for things. The ideal thing here is we have to continue looking for grants, which we would do anyways. But we do have a map there from the facility condition assessment, and it breaks it down into years on what we should be doing. It came at our budget last year or 2 years ago, and we have so many things that we're trying to do in the township, and we're trying to you know, keep things down. So it's always been the first thing to fall off the table when we get to budget. And I think we need to move on here because it's just deteriorating more and more and more. So so I'm going to look for another motion here, you know, and council can make it how they want, but I would suggest that the three options are: we receive it and bring it back to the February 1st meeting and deal with it there. We can refer it to budget today, or we can deal with it now and come with a recommendation on how we're going to move forward. So, you know, these letters, there wasn't one letter in there that said get rid of it. We are here for the people, and our big thing here is to let everyone know it's expensive. You know, I've heard that we need to make better use of it. It can't be just there for a few little organizations. It needs to be used. That would be a part of, if we are going to move forward with it, we need to get a plan in place and get a committee maybe that's going to, you know, try and book it up and get some of these groups in there that like halls like that. You know, it's, and I've heard others say there's two buildings in this community that are really untouchable, and that's the town hall and the stone hall. So, you know, we got to deal with it today one way or another. And like I say, there's the three options I'm suggesting here. If somebody wants to put another motion forward, go ahead. So Councillor Ellis, go ahead. You're muted.
Apologize, council and those viewing. I'm running from my cell phone here, and it's a little difficult to maneuver. I would ask, because I'm operating from my cell phone, I would ask you, excuse me, through you, Mr. Mayor, could you read option 2 back?
Option 2 was to refer this to budget on how to get things moving, just directly right to budget, which it always is going to come back to budget anyway. So between 1 and 2, it's very similar. It's received today's meeting, and at February 1st meeting, we can, you know, put it into, like, figure out what in the budget, bring it to the budget process. You know, the budget process is going to be a couple of weeks away. Our February 1st meeting, you know, we can come up with a plan there. But today, yeah, the three were receive it and refer it to the February 1st meeting to deal with it, receive everything from today. And the other 2 is for budget. And the third one is to deal with it now and you know, kind of like what Art tried to do there, just get something going today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess first of all, for those that have written in or are present today with presentations, thank them for their input. Lots of good thought came from those comments. So, but I didn't pass the motion that Councillor Webb brought forward because I thought we were jumping a little bit too quick. And yes, we've been held up here over years and years of not dealing with it for different reasons. And unfortunately, this council is holding the bag. But I think we still need to be cautious on moving forward. And again, looking at some of the thoughtful comments that came from Jack and Pat Patterson. But to just jump and say we're going to take it from the coffers to fix what needs to be fixed is a bit too extreme to me. I think we need to figure out a better plan as to where we're going to get some of the money. I know some of it's going to have to come from taxation, but I think there's options out there that we've maybe missed. I know we apply for a lot of grants, but I just felt that to jump directly to the point that we're going to say, do it, although that's what a lot of people would like to hear. It is a small group. So I just wanted to have, because I don't have access to reading the three options I asked, that's why I asked to have it reread there for me. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then, Councillor Webb, you had your hand up?
I was just unclear. I wasn't sure if blow out the coffers was part of my motion.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for a motion here to move this forward. Like, I think by the letters, and we are here for the people, and I agree with you 100%, Councillor Webb. We have to figure out a way to get this to move forward. There's not too many other options here. The big thing today was to make sure everybody's aware. That's part of the open and transparent thing. Today we were making sure everybody knows that the end here was over $1 million. But you know, that's not, we're just here to make sure everybody knows that. Right now though, majority, in fact, everyone 100% want to see the hall fixed. Anything can be fixed, but there's a cost to it. And that's our job now, I think, personally, is to figure out how we're going to get this to move forward. There's not too many other options here. It's going to be expensive, but we all know anything can be fixed. It's just, there's a cost associated with it. So, like I said, I keep going back to these three options, and I think the options are to move forward. There's no other option here. It's to move forward, to get this thing going. It's our job to figure out how we pay for it. Grants are a big thing. That's always been a big thing in Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, and we've been really successful in them. I think the Jammers looked at a historical grant for this thing, and that can be really touchy too, because it can be even more expensive because you have to bring it back to a standard that from 100 years ago, where, you know, to fix it up, to use it and keep it, you know, the way it is, as far as all those architectural things that make it special. You know, we can do that too. And there is grants, whether it's Trillium grants or whatever, maybe by making it an art center or something like that, that's been suggested. That might put us in a different ballpark for grants. Those are the things we got to look at. And yeah, so let's come up with something to get this moving forward. I don't think it's an option to just say we're not going to do it. We've got the numbers in front of us, what it's going to cost yearly. The initial cost is getting higher and higher to get it open because it's been neglected for so long. But that being said, once we bring it up to the number that was suggested there'll be a plan every year to put money into all our buildings to keep them going, like you do with your house. You have to put money into it every year, it'll fall down. I just wanted to ask Jack before I look for a motion here, once again, your hand's up there, Jack. Is it still up or up again?
My hand's up for sure. I figured maybe it looked like I left it up there too long or something. I'll try and keep it brief. All right. The fourth option you didn't put down there is to maintain this building so it can be used while you make up your mind about your other three major multi-million-dollar programs that you're going to renovate this building. And I want to ask a simple question. If this was your house, would you continue to ignore the basic maintenance, which is what's happened here? Or would you tear it down? You know, like you wouldn't do this to your home. So why would you even consider not maintaining this public building? And I'm done. That's all I want to say. Thanks.
Okay, and I think we've done the basic, like we put furnaces in and things like that over the years to try and keep it going, but I don't think, I hear you, Jack, but yeah, we've done the basics, but it needs a little more than basics to bring it up to where it needs to be. So I think that's what we're trying to do today. So Barry, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'd still say it has to go back to the treasurer because, there's other things that have to be done in our municipality too. We just can't drop everything else and put it into the old town hall. Like, we all would love to have it, restored and the whole ball of wax, but we can only afford so much a year. We're in a seniors municipality and we don't want to have to, have a spike in our taxes like a 10% or whatever. And we have roads to look after. We have everything to look after. Our arena, our community center. I'm sure we can fit it in, but it's got to have a slot. And what is that slot going to cost us? That's what I would like to know. You say, oh, you got the paperwork there in front of you. Well, I'm sorry, but everything isn't on the paperwork. The yearly maintenance on that building alone, water, sewers, hydro, you go on and on and on. Anyway, I think it should come back to to Dave and have a look at it and try to help us out and make a decision. Because we went and looked at it the other day, all of council, and when we were finished, everybody walked away and went home. We should have had a little meeting maybe and discuss this. If you're really, interested, we should have sat down and talked about it and maybe had some feelings for this meeting. But anyway, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, then. Okay, Bob, go ahead. And then I see Pat's hand up there. We're going to have to move on here, council. I really don't see any other options. I think I'm like Hart that way. We have to find a way to move forward, not think about this. It's we've thought about it. We've got all the documents and like other councils have, but they never dealt with it. And I thought our whole thing here in this term was we were going to deal with things, and we can deal with more than one thing. We don't have to just focus on one thing. We can multitask and do a bunch of things. There's lots we can do. So I'm going to open up to Bob, and then I'll get a final comment from Pat Patterson, and then we'll move on here with a motion. Oh, and sorry, Councillor Ellis is there.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I've received a written comment through our chat service this morning. I believe it's from Ellen Kosick, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Okay.
And the comment reads, a motion to look at how we are able to save the town hall through grants, budgeting, fundraising, and maintain it for continued use.
And that would probably be a good motion. So, okay, so Pat, your last comment, and then Councillor Ellis, and then hopefully we can get a motion here.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just reiterate, we're talking about the town hall, like for the, oh, good Lord, to have it for the heritage. And there was a comment made that it had to go back to the way it was. And I'm finding out from down at Belleville that that's not the way it's handled at all. They come and they take a look at it and they evaluate it themselves. And everything that we've done in there stays the way it is, and then we can build from there. And I think we have, I don't want to mention any names, but we have somebody in our committee that's looking into it right now to see where we go, and then we'll forward that on to council.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Yes, the previous presenter there, I forgot her name already, sorry. Kind of took the words right out of my mouth. I think we need to, and I'm willing to put this motion forward, to put together a plan to move forward to repair the town hall. And including in that motion would be a report, a financial report or statement from Dave, how we would get there. So a plan to repair and carry forward with keeping the town hall. But included in the report has to have a financial process how we get to that point. Because there is more to it, as we all know, more to it than just a roof and a ramp. We looked at bad foundation stuff the other day when we were there. There's a number of things. But in order to move this forward, if that's council's desire to save this town hall, a report of how we get there in steps to repair, as well as steps to financially support it. And that would be my motion.
So does that cover everything that Ellen had in her suggestion there, Bob?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I believe it does, without specifically mentioning grants and fundraising, but it does mention a financial plan. So those elements can be included. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So there is a motion on the floor. I'll go to David there. You have your hand up.
Just quickly getting back to Councillor Palmer's comments on the routine operation and maintenance, insurance, and bucketing that into fixed and variable costs. We do have all that information. I'll give compliments to Ryan Andrew, who's the lead of our Parks and Rec, who's run a very lean budget to the tune of, on average, month over month, $1,500 to $1,800 a month. And that includes fixed variable with insurance and associated taxes. So I'm very much looking forward to piecing together that report. After we involve our building inspector here internally, we can prioritize the steps in a logical, sequential manner that is correlated with the dollars that are needed in a phased-in approach. So good position here to be able to respond based on all the feedback today. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, David. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Councillor Webb, I'm going to go to you. You had your hand up?
Yeah, well, I'm confused on the motion because as far as I'm concerned, we have all this information already. So, I mean, are we just asking staff to, gather information for another 2 months and then we'll come back and do the same thing we're doing today? Because that's what it seems like to me.
I think it's to, it'll bring it, basically, you're right, we have the numbers, so it won't take too long to get that stuff together. It's just a matter of getting a plan in place for the budget. That's
We've had it for a long time. We've had it for a long time. This council does not want to make a decision. They're just trying.
That would be the decision, Hart. That would be the decision that we're going to move forward with this. We have all the numbers. Really, at the next budget meeting, we should be able to come up with a plan on. It's all there. We have a huge number at the beginning, but it's all there. So this motion would be putting it on the floor that we're going to go ahead and we're going to repair the town hall. And that's our job at budget time. We haven't had our first budget meeting yet. When we get to the budget meeting, we'll be coming up with how we're going to do that. I think that's what the motion is. So we'll have a plan in place. So it will be dealing with it. Go ahead.
I'd like clarity on that because if that's the motion, then I'd be for it. The way I understand the motion is we're going to be brought back a report for us to review once again before we move forward and make a decision. So I'd like clarity on that.
Okay, Councillor Ellis, go ahead, speak to the motion.
I would ask Bob to reread the motion so everybody understands, please.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, the motion as moved by Councillor Ellis is to develop a plan to repair the old town hall with an aim to keeping it and developing a financial process to establish that goal.
Thank you, Bob.
So yeah, that's the next thing. As much as we have the numbers, Hart, we don't have the plan on how we're going to come up with that money or how it's going to be financed. So
I understand, Jim. I understand, but I've been a part of this for the better part of 5 or 6 years now, and I see what's being done here, and I think today was the day to make the decision. I just said I think this council is kicking it down the street, so we'll see what happens when it gets dealt with. I made the motion to deal with it today, and nobody else seconded. They could have done it right there.
This does deal with it today. If anybody, Hart, you've heard me speak. I'm happy with this. This is getting it on the table. It'll be in this budget this year, and things will be happening with it. We're saying that we're keeping the town hall, and we're gonna come up with our plan. That's our plan. That's our job, is to come up with a plan to fund this.
I-
And this is good. I think so if somebody wants to second it, we can get moving here and get this done, because the longer we put this off, the longer it's gonna take, and you're right, we won't be dealing with it. But to me, this is dealing with it. And we'll be looking for how we're gonna get those numbers in the budget and start getting it moving. So Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead, speak to the motion.
I'll second it with a comment.
Go ahead.
Where I read that motion, and I want somebody to clarify it to me if I'm wrong. We are making a commitment today to those present and all the taxpayers in this municipality that we're going to do that at budget time. Is that not what I'm hearing?
That's what I'm hearing.
Proceed.
That's what it is we're gonna deal with it. You know, the meeting today was for everybody. It was well advertised. It was circulated on, on Facebook and all our social media channels and through our website. And basically, 100% of the comments in the letters were to get this thing going one way or another. And that's what we're doing today. We have a motion on the floor that we're going to get the process going, and we're keeping the town hall, and it's going to be fixed. And so I have a mover and a seconder for this. If you're happy with that, Dave, yep, this is for the whole community. And I've heard it far and wide, from not just in town, it's township, everybody. Like I said, there's a couple of buildings in the township or in the town that are keepers, and this is one of them. And we have a motion on the floor, and we're going to start moving forward finally to get this thing fixed up and hopefully make better use of it. So I'm gonna, if there's no other comments from council, I'm going to, we have a mover and a seconder. I'm going to call the question. Go ahead, Councillor Webb.
Yeah, just more clarity to the deputy mayor's point. Sorry, just go ahead, Jim. I'll leave it.
Okay.
Yep.
So the motion is on the floor, and there's a seconder. It's moved by Councillor Ellis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux, that we move on with this and we get things going in the budget here, and we work out how we're going to pay for it and work on all the other things that go with it. So I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. So we're going to move on with this, and and we'll see what we can get going here through this year's budget process. So I want to thank everyone that took part in this. I want to thank council. This is something that's, like I said, it's been going on for years. I think this is the first step into to moving forward, and maybe we can bring the old town hall back to what it was in its earlier years. So thank you very much. So, okay, thank you. Is there any other comments or questions here, council? Do you have any questions, or that's all this meeting was about today? And want to let Larry get back to the beach, and I have some snow to take care of. So I'll look for a motion for the confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. And a motion to adjourn, Councillor Pomeroy and Councillor Webb. Okay, thank you, everyone. That's motion to.
I didn't think we were going to get there, by God.